Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. Let's have a look at Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, and then we'll do another 7-star level 120 review. This will be a first. This will be a double review, where I do both Blossom Sage Sakura and her Halloween version, the Grimoire Sakura. And yeah, I just happen to have both, so I thought it'd be fun to do a review of them together. Actually, when I first started Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, I was not interested in using the story characters. I wanted to use the characters from the numbered games, like Bosch here, for example. But, you know, slowly, I came around to the story characters. And now, I don't care so much about, you know, characters from the legacy Final Fantasy games. I'm more interested in how they play. Just because I feel like the game system of Brave Exvius is interesting enough that I can kind of ignore the nostalgia and then just go for the characters that suit how I want to play. And then both of these characters are pretty interesting in how they play. If you know me, I'm not super interested in chainers, and I'm not interested in kind of one-dimensional damage characters. And then both of these versions of Sakura, they have interesting support abilities. So actually I wanted to talk about those first. So let's look at the Blossom Sage Sakura. And then she's the version that's available all the time. You can get her with select tickets, you can get her in the standard rare summon. So more people are going to have access to this one. But if we look at magic, no actually innate magic at all. These spells are from the Esper. She has, you know, magic damage dealing capabilities, but no spells. So if you're in a quest where you need to defeat a guy with magic, Blossom Sage Sakura is actually not going to be a good choice. But anyway, looking at her support abilities, she does have this damage mitigation. It's only 20%, but it's something. And then she has this. This is kind of interesting. It's 50% elemental resistance to these three. That's not great. If you compare that to like Zargabath's Bastion, he also has 50%, and then but that's for more elements, so that would be more useful. But then, you know, Sakura is mainly a damage dealer, so that's kind of a cool side ability for her to have. Otherwise, she has attack or magic buffs. This is really nice. This is kind of an MP battery ability. You cast it, and then, you know, for 3 turns or so, then everybody gets MP refresh, which can be very useful. Otherwise, she has a lightning imperil. I think this is also 50%. And then she also has light and then dark imperil. You can use these bright flash. These are AoE. And then you have these cheaper abilities, which are single target. So if you need to save MP, but you only need to imperil one character, you can use these light blade or quick blade skills. And then status reset. This is very interesting as well. This will, you know, block the certain status ailments. And then she has a nice counterattack ability for more MP for your guys. And then, let's see, you can boost the lightning resistance. And then as a 7-star, she also picks up this ability, where she sacrifices her limit break gauge to heal and then buff and then fill the limit break gauge of everybody except for herself. This is one of my favoriteest things about her, though, is her ability to imbue a character with lightning element. This is especially good for some recent characters that I've gotten, like A2. A2 needs help with both Imperil and Imbue, and then so Sakura would be a good partner for her. You could also use her with Hyo. So you could just give Hyo like a 2-handed non-elemental greatsword, and then that would be a good way to support that. And then with a quick combo here, you can cast 2 quick skills a turn. So you could combine, like, you know, you could do an attack and magic boost for everybody. That could be good. You could, you know, cast the quick refresh, give everybody MP, and then also like imperil an element, or you can imperil 2 elements. So yeah, as a support character, she is kind of versatile. There's a lot of things that she does not do. She can't raise people, she can't prevent like status reductions, so she couldn't take over like your breaker or your healer. But she would be pretty nice as a kind of a support character with a focus on dealing damage. Next, let's look at Grimoire Sakura and her support abilities. And then she's actually got a bit more support than the standard Sakura, so she could be more interesting to use. And then that's part of the reason why I use the Fan Festa select tickets to get her instead of like Demon Rain or Barbarisha or somebody, because her support abilities were very interesting to me. But as for magic, she does have some magic spells which you can use to defeat with magic, clear those goals. And then Thundaja, this might be the best one because it's a stacking ability. The more you use it, the greater damage it will do. And then let's look at the support abilities. Here too, she also has this triple elemental resist, also 50%. She has some status ailment attacks, but I wouldn't really rely on these too much. Undying Fervor is pretty cool. This will give you, resistance to some ailments, and then it just so happens that Grimlord Sakura has innate resistance to these elements, except for Paralysis, Confusion, and Stone. So you could definitely use this and then give her basically immunity to everything. And then resistance to reductions in attack, defense, magic, and spirit. This is really good for thresholds. A lot of bosses will lower your stats on thresholds, so this can be really good to use there. And that's one of the most annoying things to me, are those status reductions, so being able to prevent them or remove them is very important to me. Grim Siphon is interesting. I used a similar ability on A2 where you can sacrifice a character and then, restore your HP MP to yourself. This can be great if, like Grimlord Sakura has 0 MP, you can still use this and then get a bunch of, HP MP back. Or if you need to, quote-unquote, cure a character of, like, Charm or Confusion or something, then yeah, you can just take down the character, they lose all the status ailments, and then you can bring them back with a re-raise or a standard raise. So yeah, this can be useful in ways that you wouldn't expect. Rise Again is great. This is like just the re-raise spell, or like Rem's re-raise skill, and I really like this. I often use it with Zargabath, kind of in addition to like whatever Ayaka is doing, and this can be a great side support ability to have. Also, Sacrificial Barrier. This is interesting because it gives you defense and spirit to everybody 100%, which is pretty good. And then actually you could combine this with Blossom Sage Sakura's attack and magic buff and get a full buff to all of your party. I don't think there would be a ton of situations where you would want to use both together, but if it did come up, you could, you have that option. And then here we have, you can use abilities twice in a turn, or 3 times in a turn if you're using Grimoire Sakura's Trustmaster. And so anything with Grim in it, you can use, 2 or 3 times. So you could siphon multiple guys. I wouldn't recommend that. And then on top of that, she also has dual black magic. So you can use, the Thundaja twice in a turn. That's a pretty good idea. And then all of her other skills that we looked at, like the Rise Again or the Undying Fervor, you can get double cast with that as well by using a Candy Master. And this is a cooldown skill. I think you need a full limit break gauge for it, and you also have to wait 5 turns. But that can enable you to double cast, those other skills. So almost everything basically is double castable by Grimlord Sakura, and they're kind of separated into 3 groups. One is the black magic that you can dual cast with that. The other one are the Grim skills, which you can double or triple cast. And then finally there are the leftover skills, which will be unlocked by Candy Master. And so you could maybe build Grimlord Sakura as a as a limit break spam character. Although you have to wait every 5 turns, so yeah, 2 of those turns she might not be able to be as useful. But in those 2 turns, you could do the magic or the Grim skills. And then her last ability, which can also be double cast with the Candy Master, is Candy Treat. This is kind of interesting. It's a single target kind of support skill, but gives HP MP, fills the limit break gauge, fills the limit break gauge fill rate for another character. Yeah, I think we're kind of getting a sense of how Grimoire Sakura is the better support character than Blossom Sage Sakura. She has more like healing and then raising, status, debuff, protection, limit break stuff. Lots of cool stuff, I think. So although most of the time when I'm using Grimoire Sakura it will be for the damage, it might be interesting to think of her as a support character with like backup damage even. So I think she could be kind of versatile in her use. Okay, next let's talk about their damage abilities. So we'll look at Blossom Sage Sakura first. The main thing that you want to use with her is the Quick Final Thunder. This is a stacking skill, so the more you use it, the stronger it will get. And then this is like one big attack, so you can finish chains with this. She also has Quick Thunder's Light, which you might want to use beforehand, because this will imperil the enemy to lightning damage, so you can get extra damage out of the Final Thunder. She also has Quick Rebel Intention. This is a non-elemental skill, just in case you need that for a certain enemy or a certain mission. And then these Quick, Thunder's Light, Quick Bright Flash. These are actually kind of useful for Arena. They hit everybody and then they imperil, a different element. So if you have other characters with those elements, you can get, extra damage out of there. And then here, the Celestial Roar. This is kind of key to Blossom Sage Sakura. But you can use this turn 1, and then this will enable Pentacast. So what I like to do is maybe first turn use Celestial Roar, and then second turn I will use 1 of a Quick Thunder's Light to reduce lightning resistance, and then 4 of Quick Final Thunder. And then this will do pretty good damage on the first turn. But it'll also ramp up her stacks, so she gets to the max damage more quickly. And then after that, you can just dual cast the Quick Final Thunder, and then finish chains with that, or just use it as a solo damage thing. So that's pretty cool. And then as a 7-star, she gets a lot of double hand or dual wield, the true double hand, true dual wield. So you want to equip her with equipment and stuff where it gives her flat magic values. So rather than Ring of the Lucii, give her like Celestial Gloves or something with like 30 flat attack. So, alright, and then with Grimoire Sakura, for her damage options, we could use the double cast Thundaja, or a lot of the Grim skills are going to be what we want to use. Grim Soul Barrage is nice because this is non-elemental, so again, if we need that, we can do that. And then there's the Grim Eldritch Flames, which is okay, but it's kind of outshone by her 7-star skill, which is the Grim Eldritch Wave. Same deal, fire and dark damage, and then reduces both of those elements. But this chains with a Chaos Wave, and that's kind of one of the bigger selling points. And then this is my first character that I have that can chain with that, which is another reason why I chose this, Grimoire Sakura, over anyone else with those FanFesta select tickets. But of course you don't need to chain with it, you can just use it solo, kind of like as a finisher, or just a solo damage dealer, just like Blossom Sage Sakura. And then finally, as for equipment, for Grimoire Sakura, you definitely want to give her her Trustmaster. She gets bonuses for using a fire weapon or a dark weapon, so that's that. The Trustmaster will also unlock her triple cast, which you want. And then she gets the true double hand as well, so her too, you want to give her equipment with the flat magic. And then the Super Trustmaster is nice, HP and MP up, that's always good. But more magic and spirit true double hand when using a single weapon. And this will be very good for Grimoire Sakura, but it could be good for other magic users or healers or maybe summoners in particular, since they want both of those stats. And that was yet another reason why I chose Grimoire Sakura over Demon Rain, was because I liked her Super Trust Master more than his. And then maybe in the future we will get the Super Trust Master Moogle, and then I can use it on Grimoire Sakura. Blossom Sage Sakura, of course you want to use this with her. MP 20%, Magic 40% is great. Filling the limit break gauge is very good, and she has a nice limit break. It's many hits on everybody, so you can use it like as a chaining skill, or maybe to weave with like another chain, but good damage there. And then a Super Trust Master, also really nice. I think this might be the highest magic on a robe. Maybe Dark Fina has something similar, I can't remember. But yeah, auto limit on a body piece, that's pretty rare for a body piece. Okay, so let's bring Blossom Sage Sakura into a quest, and then we'll just look at basically her damage dealing abilities. And then I'm going to bring her to Lakshmi. She has no resistance or weakness to any element, so I'll be able to use both versions of Sakura here and then kind of get a sense of the damage that they can both do. And then I'm also going to bring Elfrida. This is my first video of me using her. She is my Provoke tank and also Breaker. She can do both at once, so that's pretty nice. I have Lid in here, who I could also break with, but really she's just here to get a little bit of MP to my guys, and then also get rid of the charm, which will come out every 10 turns. And then Bosch will just do the magic tanking. He's got the 100% light resistance, so that he can take all damage there. And then there's some counterattacks from Elfrida. One other thing I forgot to mention, a difference between Blossom Sage Sakura and Grimoire Sakura. Blossom Sage has some innate MP refresh, and then she also has that MP refresh skill, so she's better all around for that. Grimoire Sakura has neither of those things, so you need to either give her equipment to give her MP refresh, or you need some outside characters to help her with that. Okay, we'll refresh Elfrida's Provoke. That's good for only 2 turns, so we'll do that there. And with Blossom Sage Sakura, let's use her Pentacast unlocking skill. Alright, and then the way that the turns went, that's perfect. Lakshmi will heal herself every 3 turns, so now we can unlock the Pentacast and then do some damage after the healing. So let's do 1 Quick Thunder's Light and then a bunch of Quick Final Thunder. I need a lot of MP for that, so we'll restore that first with Ayaka. And Lid. Okay. So 1 Imperil, and then 4 of the bolts, which should get stronger with every one. And then 5 million by the last one. That's pretty darn good. And it might be tempting to, every time Blossom Sage Sakura's cooldown skill is up, to use that so that you can unlock the Pentacast again. But if you do that, I think the stacks get reset. So I would say just use the Pentacast once, and then do the double cast just every turn, so that you can keep up at the top of the stacks level. Okay, but more MP from Ayaka and Lid, more tanking from Elfrida and Bosch, and then we'll double cast the final Thunder. Okay, pretty good. Alright, so from here, let's just skip around and we'll go to all the places where Sakura is doing damage. Okay, next, let's look at Grimoire Sakura. Exact same team, same boss. And I do like playing the Esper bosses because they're a little challenging, but not too bad. And then they only cost 30 energy, so they're pretty good for like demonstrations like this. Okay, same deal with Elfrida and Bosch. Blossom Sage Sakura has the MP refresh skill, but Grimoire Sakura does not have that. But let's go ahead and use the Grim Eldritch Wave right away. And then we saw that it did a little bit more damage towards the end, because the first hits didn't take into account the imperil of the fire and the dark damage. But that's one nice advantage that Grimoire Sakura has over Blossom Sage, is that she can just start triple casting right away, and then she can triple cast every turn. There's no need to build up with her. Okay, once again, all of our MP will be drained. This will be a little bit more difficult to deal with this team, just because I don't have that Blossom Sage Sakura MP refresh. But Grimoire Sakura does have the Siphon, so she can restore her own HP and MP. And then I'm going to use that on my least important character, which is Lid. Sorry, Lid. But yeah, 361 magic, that's pretty darn good. And yeah, like I said before, I don't really need Lid for this fight, because I'm breaking with Elfrida. I'll just need Lid by the 10th turn, so that she can get rid of the charm. Okay, so we refresh the Provoke and Break with Elfrida, but she needs some MP first, so let's do that with Ayaka. Alright, and then with Grimoire Sakura, we'll go back to using the Grim Eldritch Wave. Okay, pretty good. 750,000 damage per hit. And yes, that will chain with Transterra, or whomever has the Chaos Wave frames. So that can be even more damage there. So yeah, kind of the big difference in chaining between the different Sakuras is that Grimlord can, be one of the chainers, whereas Blossom Sage, you want her to finish other people's chains. Okay, so turn 3, the boss healed herself. So from here, just like with Blossom Sage, we'll start doing the real damage. And then we'll just keep triple casting that Grim Wave. And yeah, that's basically the flow of this fight. We'll just skip ahead here as well to all the places where Grimoire Sakura does the damage. Okay, so that was a look at those two doing damage. I was kind of surprised that they both took down the boss on the same turn, turn 12. But I guess in a vacuum, their damage output is pretty similar. But, you know, depending on what you need for a certain fight, if you need lightning element, or if you need fire/dark element, you could choose one of the two. If you needed them for their support skills, you could choose among the two who you wanted to use. And there's even a little bit of synergy if you use them together. I guess you could imperil the lightning with Blossom Sage and then use Thundaja with Grimlord, or whatever. But yeah, versatile characters and pretty powerful. So hopefully you have one or both of those, and you can give them a try. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.